belonging. Some people die before they fulfill their desires. Such a waste of existence. Spend our life searching for the sense of belonging. Some people die before they fulfill their desires. Such a waste of existence.
Anxious earth is rising. Anxious earth is rising. I'm so happy.
We spend our life searching for the sense of belonging. Some people die before they fulfill their desires. Such a waste of existence.
Hey, Double Triple Channel. Welcome to the Double Triple Channel. My name is Ron. I live in rural New Hampshire. This is a Twitch stream. Today is, June 26th. Almost June 27th. June 26th. 11:33. My clock is right on my computer. So I just a Twitch stream. Today I'm on a stream about Bliss, the movie. Could talk about that, explain it, give a review, whatever critical stuff, Sometimes I'll do reviews of sci-fi. Sometimes I do a lot of different stuff. I live in rural New Hampshire, surrounded by forests and wild animals. Sometimes I stream about that. I do IRL with those. It's a lot of different stuff. Today we're going to do a review of a movie called Bliss, released in 2021. And as always, and I'm sure you can expect, there will be spoilers. So, and this is kind of movie that even if you just read the description of the movie, it can mess it up for you, depending upon how they write the description of the movie. A lot of times they'll do that. So, if you have not seen this film, I recommend it. I recommend that you see the film. It's one of those films that take a little bit of work to understand, I like those kind of films. You know, it's not something you just kick back. You know, one of these action movies where you just kick back and watch a bunch of eye candy on the screen or whatever. You know, you gotta think. It makes you think. You know, and it's confusing, and it's one of those things that you got to work at to try to understand. It demands a lot of the audience. So if you don't like those kind of films, then you're not going to watch this film anyway. You probably wouldn't watch it. But if you do like those kind of films, and this is one of those films, and I highly recommend it. And if you have not seen it, then shut this off right now. If you're watching this on a VOD somewhere or something like that, yeah, shut it off. Don't read anything about this film anywhere. Just go watch it. It's an Amazon film, but I think it was on Tubi. It's pretty wide distribution. It's pretty easy to find. You can watch it for free. I watched it for free. I went to Amazon, and apparently I hadn't been to the Amazon site for a while, and so it said, oh, you can get a free movie, and so I did that, and I watched this film. So, and now I'm going to review it. And so since it is, I'm gonna put the little spoiler tag up here. Can you see that? Yeah. All right. Yeah. If you are watching this on a VOD, this is a live thing, right? I'm streaming live on Twitch right now, so it's not an edited down, review like you see these little, 5-minute or 15-minute reviews or something. This is probably gonna take an hour or so. But I'm going to get into it really deep. I'm going to explain this the way nobody else has explained it, and it's going to be in detail. I'm going to explain stuff that people didn't see, didn't understand. The only person who understood was a filmmaker. Okay, and I'm going to explain it. Okay, and most time when I do a review, I'll figure it out on my own what I'm going to say. On this one, I did that, and most of what I'm going to tell you is I figured out. But I did look at a couple of reviews just to realize that people didn't understand what the movie was about. Most of them, a couple of them got kind of understood it. And I found a review or an interview with that the guy did, Cahill, the filmmaker who made this film. He did an interview. And he kind of explained a little. He didn't, of course, he didn't want to explain what the movie was about, but he kind of explained a little bit about what his thinking was, his motivation, and that sort of thing. This Mike Cahill guy, and so that gave me a little bit more insight or context to as to what I'm going to explain about the movie. So most of what I'm going to explain is going to be focused on the narrative. Sometimes I talk about film techniques or acting and all different stuff. This is mostly going to be focused on the narrative, the story that the filmmaker is trying to tell with this thing. And what, at least what he said his motivations were and what he was thinking about when he did it. This is 2021. So it was in the midst of the pandemic. It's we were just getting over the first administration of the wackadoodle, and people were kind of getting led around, and there's a split. There's a split in what in the United States anyway. There was a split between groups of people as to not only what their views were of things, but what their reality was. What their set of facts, everything was has been split. So, and it's a big problem. So that was kind of his motivation to doing this thing. All right, I put up the spoiler tag, didn't I? I'm going to check something really quick. I want to make sure that I'm in sync because I was playing around with a bunch of stuff before I started this. And I don't even see my my video up there, so I don't know if this is streaming or not. But I want to check my sync here. A little technical thing here. This is. Did I say this was live? I want to check my sync here. A little technical. So it's going to be kind of scuff. sometimes when I do one of these things, these reviews, I'll edit them down into an actual, digestible little video and put it up there on YouTube somewhere. But if you're watching this is a live thing. So feel free to skip through whatever parts you don't like. You know how that works, right? I'm gonna check my sync here just to make sure that my audio is in sync with my video. All right, that looks close enough. The clips I'm gonna put up here. I tried to. I had to make it. I'm on an old computer here and stuff like that. Technical stuff. So the quality is not going to be that good. The frame rate's going to be wacky and all that. So it's not going to be the best quality clips. But I'm just going to show you the clips just so you'll know what parts of the movie that I'm talking about, basically, just to remind you. But before I get into that, again, we got spoilers here. So before we get into it, I want to explain a little bit about the context of what the film deals with. Now, the film's about drugs. It's about drugs. It's about the drug trade, drug addiction, drug dealers, that sort of thing. And the way the drug trade is set up, illicit drug trade, is it's not, they don't like advertise, right, on TV, hey, heroin, it doesn't work that way, it's it's underground, right? Everything's done underground, and it's multi-level marketing, basically, right? It's like the original Amway or whatever. I don't know. Do they still have Amway? I don't know. It's the guys at the top or whatever who are making drugs and have big criminal organizations, and they sell to mid-level dealers, and then they sell to low-level dealers, and then as it gets street people, there's a multi-level thing, right? And it's like the ones when somebody gets recruited into this criminal organization, into this deal where they're selling drugs and doing other stuff, they try to recruit other people. That's how the way multi-level marketing works, right? And then they try to get people selling drugs for them, and blah blah blah, right? And it kind of spreads that way. So that's the structure of the drug trade, the illicit drug trade overall, And motivation, of course, is money, right? It's all about the money. Well, not all of it, but mostly it's about the money. The idea is to make as much money as possible. And since they're doing something that's illegal anyway, then they don't mind doing other stuff that's illegal. They don't mind doing prostitution or killing people or whatever they do, stealing stuff, whatever, just to make more money. And when people get addicted to drugs, they are willing to do bad stuff, right? They get addicted. They want the drugs so badly that their moral compass is completely tossed out the window, and they just do horrible stuff in order to get money and get the drug, that sort of thing. And so it's mainly about money, but it's also about control, because when somebody gets into that situation where they are on drugs and they are so willing to do anything to get the drug, then it means that you can motivate them to do whatever you want them to do, so that's another part of it. And because of that, then there are other elements of society that get involved in that whole process, like the intelligence community, spies, right? They use that because it's underground. It can be kept secret more easily, the activity, and because they get people to do stuff they want them to do, they can use that to recruit spies, to get people to sell, information that they want, to help implement ops if they want to. I mean, lots of different. It helps to recruit people and to extort behavior out of people. So, that's the backdrop. Okay, and this movie gets into a lot of the details, at least a couple different levels of that whole process of what's going on. Yeah, there are spoilers in here, so so the filmmaker, this Cahill guy, he wants to, when he does his films, or at least when he did this film for sure, he doesn't have like a separate view for the audience. In other words, the audience doesn't know stuff that the protagonist knows. Sometimes when telling a story, the audience will know something that the protagonist doesn't know, and especially like in horror films, say for example, the audience knows that the monster is right behind the door, right? But the protagonist doesn't know, so the audience is all tense, and you know what I'm talking about? What do they call that? Dramatic irony? Is that what it is? Anyway, it's when somebody is the audience knows stuff that the protagonist doesn't. Okay, and like the horror example, I'll get to chat in just a second. So like if there's a protagonist in a horror film, he's going around a corner. The audience knows that the monster's behind the corner, and the protagonist doesn't know it, and they're walking into this situation where they're going to get eaten by the monster or whatever, and that causes the audience to have certain feelings and stuff, and shout at the screen, no, don't go in there, no, don't shut the lights off, that kind of thing, right? This is not like that. In this movie, the audience is exactly in the same point as the protagonist. The audience doesn't know any more about what's going on than the protagonist, and all of the feelings and everything that the filmmaker tries to evoke in the audience is the feeling that the protagonist is feeling at the time. We've got a chat. This is Twitch. If you're watching this on a VOD, this is Twitch. We have a chat facility here, and we have a chatter. Orange Shoe, welcome, Orange Shoe. Welcome to chat. Orange Shoe says 27% Rotten Tomatoes seems a bit harsh. Eats spoil. Yeah, lots of spoilers. Yeah, Orange Shoe. If you watch, if you like movies that are take a lot of work to watch and are very thought provoking and demanding of the audience, and seem like they're kind of sci-fi. Oh, let's spoil. Okay, yeah. Then you don't want to watch this. Have you seen them? Have you seen the film? If you've seen the film, fine. Then that's who I'm directing this thing at. Is people who have seen the film and most likely don't understand what they watched. So I'm going to explain it. I seen it years ago. Okay, great. Well, then this will be perfect then. You don't want to watch this before that, because then it spoils the whole movie. Because the whole point is that at the beginning of the movie, you don't know what's going on because the protagonist doesn't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that throughout the whole thing. So the audience takes the ride through this whole narrative along with the protagonist. All right, let's take a look at some clips here. I'll bring up. All right, so here's the beginning of the film. All right, protagonist is this guy, Greg Whittle. Okay, he's the protagonist. It's played by Owen Wilson. And by the way, the performances in this thing are just off the charts. I have never seen Owen Wilson give a performance as good as he did in this film. Every other film I've ever seen him in, uh, Owen Wilson comes through. You know what I'm saying? There's whatever character he's playing, you can say, oh, there's Owen Wilson playing this character. In this one, no, it's not like that. This is the best. This is the best it gets. And Selma Hayek, same thing. Brilliant performances. Everybody in this film really did well. So he, at the very beginning of this film, he's in this situation where, he gets a phone call from a woman, and the when he starts talking to her, it sounds like he's talking to a girlfriend or a wife, somebody that he has a romantic relationship with. And then as he's talking to her, she says some things. Oh, you can come in at my graduation, and it becomes apparent that she is his daughter. So that right away, the way this was written, just throws you way off balance. You're already off balance right at the very beginning of this thing. I'll play this clip and I'll talk about a little bit more what they're doing and what's going on.
Hi, my love.
Hi.
I'm so happy you called me back.
How's your shoulder?
My shoulder's good. My leg is a little bit achy, but I'm taking the med, so enough about me. How are you?
I'm good. I wanted to talk to you about my graduation.
I can't believe you're graduating.
All right, so they're right at the very beginning there. A lot of exposition, which is good, but it's really well written. There wasn't hardly any exposition in this thing that seemed clumsy or anything. I'm gonna put my headphones on so I can hear what they're saying too. But it's really well written. So you get exposition, and it's written in a way that makes you be off balance right off at the very beginning there. So he's talking to his daughter, but we don't know that, and it takes a second and a while for you to figure out what's going on, who he's talking to, what the deal is. And did you notice at the very beginning also, he was saying, "Oh, I got," she's saying, "How you doing?" He says, "Oh, I got these little pains and stuff like that, but I'm taking medication," and and then right away, as soon as he said that, he said, "But enough about me," and he changed the subject right away, so she couldn't come back to him and say, "Oh, Daddy, you're taking too many of those," or what. You know what I'm saying? He knows. He's at the very beginning here. We soon find out that he's already addicted. He's addicted to painkillers, prescription painkillers, which is one of the ways that they get people into taking illegal drugs. It didn't used to be like that, but that's something that happened in the last decade or so. Is the regular drug industry got into the whole thing, and and they actually got people addicted to drugs, and then switched them over to street drugs. The drug dealers did. So anyway, that's what happens at the very beginning there. This is going to be kind of hard here. I actually need another monitor here to see what's going on, because it's hard for me to see chat. So I might not be able to get the chat right away. Orange Shoe says, "I want to watch it again to get more out of it." Okay, great. Yeah. Well, this will help you then. Hopefully. All right, let me switch this over here again, and we'll watch the next clip. All right. Okay. So what's going on here is he's addicted to these drugs. He's in a very stressful situation right here in his office. And his it's just the way they do this is just incredible too in this movie. But they just make it very, very stressful. You can tell that this guy is just under enormous stress right now. He's trying to renew his drug prescription, and they're cutting him off, and it's very stressful for him. And you can tell that he's really addicted to this, several different clues, but one of them is what he's doing right here. He took a couple of these tablets, put them on his desk, and he's getting ready to crush them and snort them. And you don't see him actually do it, but you hear it. And that might have been something that you missed when you were watching this, but that's what's going on here. And then as he's doing that, they zoom in out the window here and show a billboard out there for a rehab center. And that rehab center is one of the key components of this thing. That's where he ends up at the end, is the rehab center. But just watch how they handle this here. And it's very subtle, but that's what happens. He crushes these pills and snorts them. And after he snorts the pills, before he snorts the pills, there's this real high stress level. Everything's stressful. As soon as he snorts the pills, then all the alarms go off. Everything, it just becomes much more calmer. So what the filmmaker's doing here is trying to make the audience feel the same thing that the protagonist is feeling. So I'll play this clip here, and you'll understand. Okay, the wallet. What's the wallet about? Why is that wallet flickering in and out there? You see that? So you saw what happened, right? He snorted the coke, and things got a lot more calmer for him. But also things got more delusional for him. And more, like he's high, right? People, one of the things on this, when the drugs. Let me fix my camera here. Hang on just a second. Heroin and opioids. They're not. They usually don't cause hallucinations or delusions and stuff like that. Usually they don't. But in this film, they kind of show it doing that. And so he's having a psychotic break here right now. That's what's going on. And they want the audience to go along with that. And so what they do is they show him doing this, taking these drugs, walking out of the office, and then his wallet kind of flickers. And so the audience is left sitting there. What's going on? Why is that wallet flickering like that? What is the deal? And there are a couple things that are going on right there. Let me show you that scene again. So this scene right here is it's showing his family. It's showing him leaving his wallet behind, but it's kind of iffy. What's going on? Did he leave his wallet behind or not? And they draw the audience's attention to the wallet. The wallet is a motif in this film, by the way. And then they also showing him leaving behind his family, right? The pictures of his family, and he's walking away and he's leaving them behind as well as his wallet. So, and what that is when somebody gets addicted like that and goes down takes that train, that's what happens. They lose their money, they use their family, they use all their friends, they lose everything. And that's what this is showing right here. Let's see here. Orange Hughes says, by the way, there's another 21 movie called Bliss from Germany about two sex workers who start a lesbian relationship. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Yeah, there's movie industry's kind of competitive. They do a lot of stuff to wrestle with each other, That's the way it works. All right, let me play the rest of this, and then we'll play the next clip. Now the next clip is about him getting fired, right? So he's in this stressful situation, and his boss is going to fire him. So he goes into the office there, and he just snorted this these drugs, and he's sitting there trying to listen to his boss. His boss fires him, and he's just oblivious. He's had a psychotic break. I'll show you.
Look, there's no easy way to tell you this, but you're fired. Greg, you're fired. Greg? The inside of your head must be amazing.
So he says it kind of an echoey way. He says, the inside of your head must be amazing. That's what his boss said. And so at this point, and they do a perspective shift here, which I don't have a clip of that, but they're kind of go back and forth where they're showing the boss and what is actually happening. And then they do this perspective shift where it's from his perspective, and he just breaks with reality at this point, and he believes that he kills the boss. So what I think might be happening here, and I don't know if that's true, what happened, but like if you think about what could be going on in his brain, and this is just supposition at this point, I don't know, but he's sitting in the office there. His boss tells him that he's fired. So what's gonna go on in his head? Maybe he has a little fantasy that he kills the boss. Right? If your boss just fired you, you're gonna be pissed at your boss. You're gonna wish he was dead or whatever. Or what. So maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe he had this little fantasy in his head where he believed that he killed the boss, and it gets pretty elaborate. This whole thing here, I'll play the next. He thinks he killed the boss, but he has to hide the body. So just stupid. He hides the body up on the window, right? And this isn't really happening, right? He didn't really do this. This isn't,
Is he not here?
Not yet.
What is all you?
All right, so that's right. He didn't. That's not really what happened, right? That was all. That whole situation there, where he was trying to kill his boss, hide the body, all that didn't really happen. What happened was he probably was just sitting there, just spacing out and thinking about all this stuff, and he's completely, divorced reality from what's going on, in his head. So. All right. Next clip is he meets Isabel. Okay. Now Isabel is a prostitute and a street dealer. She is working in the industry. She's in the multi-level marketing thing here, right? She's a drug dealer. She wants to recruit Greg here, Greg Whittle, the protagonist. And it's possible, even likely, that that her and her cohorts have been watching him for a while and have targeted him and are going after him here, trying to hook him. So I'll play this clip here, how they meet and how she approaches him and everything. Now remember, he's still kind of halfway
real.
psychotic here.
Sorry?
You know you're real, right?
I was just waiting for... I'm sorry, do I know you?
You deflected my powers.
I'm sorry?
Stop apologizing.
I'm not apologizing. I don't hear you. I can't understand what you're saying.
All right, so she's pretending like she's able to control things and stuff, right? And him in this psychotic state that he's in, he's thinking that she's controlling things, And maybe what happened there was, that guy just accidentally dropped those dishes, and then afterwards she pretended like she made it happen. Who knows what really happened here? But this is what's going on in his brain, right? As the audience, we're in the same place that his brain is at, right? So what happened there? It looks like she made the guy spill the dishes, drop the dishes there. Another little detail here: this place that they're in. This is a bar right across the street from where he worked. Place that like his regular watering hole that he comes to all the time and drinks, right? So he's addicted to alcohol too, apparently. But the name of this place is Plato's Dive, and the one of the things that the filmmaker mentioned when in an interview that I heard was that he was inspired by this idea of Plato's Cave, which is a story about if you're familiar with it, Plato. It's a story, very very old story, where Plato's trying to get people to think outside the box, And he says, what if you're in a situation where everybody lives in a cave and nobody ever goes out because they're afraid of whatever. They don't ever go outside of the cave, and the whole society and everybody spends their entire lives inside this cave, and that's all they know. If somebody somehow left the cave and went out there and saw all the rest of the world that was out there, and then came back into the cave to tell people, hey, there's all this other stuff out there, all the people in the cave would say, no, you're crazy. That's not, all there is this cave. What are you talking about? There's nothing out there. So that's Plato's Cave. And it's interesting that the filmmaker chose to name this bar Plato's Dive. So just a little side point there, what that's about. All right, so let's see this next one. All right, so she's still trying to. This goes on for quite a while here in this bar, where she is, making her sales pitch, basically trying to hook this guy, and she says a very general thing to him. First she says, "Oh, come sit with me a little bit," and he rejects her. But then she says, "Oh, you need an alibi, don't you?" Which is a very general thing. So she has no idea what's in his brain, that he has this delusion of killing his boss. She doesn't know that at this point, but she knows that he's on drugs. He's probably starting to do illegal things to support his drug habit, and she just throws out this very general line to try to hook him that just says, "Oh, you need an alibi, right?" Here, I'll play this here.
I'm Isabel. Come sit with me.
I'm fine. I'm just gonna have my drink. Thank you.
You need an alibi, don't you?
What? All right. So she throws out that line to him. He's hooked. He goes, "Oh no, she knows what's going on." She doesn't, but he thinks she does. And then so in this conversation right here, what's probably going on is he's drunk and high and halfway delusional and everything, and she is just leading him along and saying, what do you need? She's probably asking him, what do you need the alibi for? And she's pumping him for information, and he's spilling information to her, and she's figuring out what's going on during this whole situation. They don't show it here, but that's what's going on, right? And she is just very cleverly and carefully manipulating his delusion, so that he thinks that she knows what's going on in his brain, and that he killed his boss and blah blah blah. Okay, so let me play the rest of it here.
Interesting view.
So he thinks that he thinks that she knows it, right? And what happens there? If you see the movie, right? She fixes it. We don't have to get into that, but she fixes it to make it look like he gives him an alibi, right? But before that happens, she makes him go and do this little task for
About
her.
your boyfriend.
Ex, he has my amulet necklace, and I need it back.
Why can't you use your powers on your boyfriend?
Because he's real, like you and I.
You keep saying real. What do you mean by real? Why is this necklace so important?
All right, so this is I don't even know if this is a real. If this may have been staged, this guy may be working with her, and it's kind of a stage thing, or maybe he is passed out here. I don't know. We don't know. But she wants him to. She wants Greg Whittle, her Mark, to go in there and take these magic crystals from this guy, which is the drugs, right? And he does that.
It contains special yellow crystals with the power to manipulate this fake world.
All right, so he does it, and he brings these drugs out to her. It's some kind of designer drug that's, more powerful and worse than what he has been taking, and makes him much more suggestible and delusional. And she takes advantage of that. And let me show you what she does here. He comes out there, tells her that the guy is passed out, and she says a key line right here.
Did he give you any trouble?
No, he was just passed out.
Really? Great. Get back in there and get the wallet.
Get the wallet. And this has happened several times. Remember I said the wallet is a motif on this whole thing? The wallet is like representing money, right? That's the whole point of the drug trade and getting people hooked and getting into this whole thing, is to get more money. So that's something that she's trying to train him up on right away. And she does that several times, telling him, get the wallet, So it's kind of a motif throughout the whole thing. So she sends him back in there to get the wallet, to get money from the guy who's passed out. While Greg is in the bathroom, she spikes his drink. She takes the drugs that he just got, these powerful designer drugs, psychedelic drugs, and drops them into his glass of his drink. He comes back, drinks the drink, and gets into this even worse psychotic state, and then very suggestive psychotic state, and then she starts to really pump him, really fill him full of stuff.
Drinks on him.
Ideas.
I think I got money.
He owes me.
All right, did you see that? It's very, very quick. You probably missed it when you saw the movie the first time, but that's what happened. He's back in there. He goes back in there. As he's getting the money, she drops the drugs into his drink. He comes back out and drinks the drink, not knowing that she just spiked his drink
trouble?
with those
No,
drugs.
he's just passed out.
Really? Great. Get back in there and get the wallet. Drinks on him.
No, I think I got money.
He owes me.
See that? Now the timing here is a little off. I mean, of course, he's not going to get high right away. There are going to be a few minutes in between there, but they shorten it for the film. And look at her. See, she is looking at him very intently to see where he's at, if the drug has taken effect, not yet, blah blah blah. Right? She's watching him to see if has become suggestible enough for her to start putting these ideas in his head.
Okay, guapo. Time to solve your problem. You deserve a clean break.
All right, so, all right, did that make sense? Did you see that? It's very hard to catch if you're just watching the movie that happened that way, but that's what happens. You see that? So he goes into the bathroom. She spikes his drink. He comes back out. He drinks his drink. In other words, she drugs him with this very powerful psychotic, puts him into a very suggestible state. She's watching him very carefully to see if he's if he's high enough yet. And then she starts pumping him with a bunch of ideas. And of course, she's getting information from him at the same time. And he gets this idea that his boss's body, he thinks he put his boss's body up in the window, right? Remember that? He put his boss's body up in the window, and his boss's body falls out of the window, and it looks like his boss committed suicide because his body falls out of the window. Very improbable, right thing. It wouldn't happen, right? And they run out there, and right away as he runs out there and talks to a couple of the employees and says, what happened, and they said, oh, he just fell out of the office, blah blah blah, and then right away she takes him away from the other people because she wants to be able to control the narrative. She wants to be able to guide him and make sure that nothing disrupts this this delusion that he's deep into at this point. And I'll show you that clip. And she does this several times throughout the whole thing. You'll see this. As soon as he starts talking to other people, if he starts talking to his daughter, he starts talking to somebody else, she will drag him away from that situation because she wants to control the narrative. She wants to control his delusional state. She doesn't want anything that will pull him out of that. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. Let's play the rest of this clip here. So this is after the guy has fallen out of pretend. Okay, this is after he thinks that his boss has fallen out of the window, and she wants him to be. She is pulling him away from that situation, right? He has that idea in his head. She doesn't want him to talk to any people who might disturb this carefully crafted delusion that's going on.
Forgot my wallet.
Forget about it.
No, I can go back. I'm innocent, right?
You can't go back. You have to lay low for a while until the gates close.
You said yourself that they saw me at the bar, the witnesses.
Exactly. Let them do the talking. Last thing you need is to be in a dark room, bright light on your face, with the 5-0 tripping you off because you will for sure fuck it up.
Okay. All right. So and then he goes with her, right? And she has him now separated from people as much as possible, and she continues to do that. All right. Okay. Now here is another kind of symbolic thing. He is looking at his cell phone with home movies of his family and all this kind of stuff, and she's trying to get him away from that. She's trying to get his wallet, his money away from him, and his ties to his family. He's trying to sever that also. She's trying to do all of that to him so that he's completely dependent on her. And so right away she doesn't want him looking at his cell phone and seeing his family and seeing traces of what has happened before, and everything else. So she makes him she makes him get rid of his cell phone and she sells it to this I don't know, pawn shop or something. And this little deal that goes on here. So he's looking at his family. See that?
How much for this?
See, she takes the cell phone. She doesn't want him. She doesn't want him having any ties to the past at all. She wants complete control of this guy. So she grabs his cell phone and cuts a deal with this pawn shop guy. Now, most likely she knows this pawn dealer very well and has pawned off a bunch of stuff with him, and she pretends like she's making a deal with him, and she pretends that she can only get $10 from this guy. But most likely this pawn dealer and her have cut a deal on the side, and it looks like she's only getting $10 for it, but the pawn guy is probably giving her money under the table also. That's my what I think is going on there.
I'll give you $60.
Done.
ID.
I don't have a wallet. Can you use yours? Can she use hers?
40. 10. I mean, better than tossing it on the trash can.
For sure. But they just grind you on that no ID thing. Did you know that?
Did you know that? Yes, she knew that. So that was what was going on there. All right. So this next part of this movie is them getting to know each other, and it kind of turns into like a love story almost. It's kind of weird. One of the things that con people will do is to use romance to try to score their mark, right? To get money from whoever they're trying to con. And she does that. She tries to get him to fall in love with her so that she can use romantic feelings and all that kind of stuff to manipulate him. And that's what this next portion of the film is about. And so she's using love, she's using romance, and she's using the drugs to try to mess up with his mind and get him sucked in and keep him on a chain.
I do have a television. You can watch the news there on mute.
Oh wait, this is...
Yeah, and water. See, I'm not homeless, just off the grid. I am offering you a safe place to hide out. Take it or leave it, okay? I'm not gonna be begging. It's not like I enjoy your company or anything.
Okay, so... Right, so that's... See, okay, so she said, it's not like I enjoy your company or anything. That was the opposite of what she felt, or what she was trying to make him think that she felt. He understood, and that it was an invitation to be romantic. And so that's where this thing heads. And so now they go into this roller skating rink here. And the whole vibe here is to... a romantic type of thing, right? That's going on in this roller skating rink. All right, so let me play that. There's actually a lot going on here besides the romantic thing. So she's using the romance, but she's also using the drugs to hook him, to get him. All right, so it's a romantic thing, right? They're at a roller skating rink, and they're trying to make it a romantic thing. And the music, by the way, that's Sky Edwards' song is called "You and I." Very, very cool song. So but it helps the vibe. So the audience, so the protagonist, that's what's going on in his brain right now. Is he in his brain he's fallen in love with this woman, and he's not really aware that she's, of course, trying to manipulate him at all at this point. So the vibe for the audience is also that too. But also going on here, because they're taking these drugs that are putting them into this delusional, hallucinogenic state, they start seeing things that make it seem that they are controlling people. Here, I'll play. All right, so they're right. They're trying to, and this goes on for quite a while here, where they're showing them just making people fall down. They think that they're making people fall down with their thoughts or their mind or with their super special powers or whatever. And of course, that's not what's happening, right? People are just, randomly falling down. They're in a roller skating ring. People fall down sometimes in a roller skating ring, and they're just thinking that they're making the people fall down. But one of the things that she does at this point right away is to start working on his moral compass to try to dissolve any ethical thinking that he has, to try to get him to do things that are wrong. She's trying to train him up to sell drugs for her, to commit crimes for him, all that kind of stuff. One of the things that she wants to do is to erode his moral compass, to make him do things that are wrong. And the way that she does it here, the technique that she's using here, is that she is telling him that, this is we're in a, this is not a real world. These are all just fake people. They're just characters, fake game characters, and they're not real people. So it's okay to abuse them, to do these horrible things to them. And one of the things that she makes him do at this point is to cause an elderly couple to fall down. And he didn't want to do that because that's wrong. He knows that's wrong. But she gets him to do it by manipulating him here. I'll show you.
Do it. Oh, she's not real. Get her.
So see what's going on there? So that's in this criminal organization, when they're recruiting more and more people in this multi-marketing or in this multi-level marketing type of thing, they gotta take people who are just ordinary people who don't do bad things generally, and try to get them to do criminal activity, to sell drugs or prostitute themselves or kill people, harm people, steal, all these horrible things. And the way they do it is they manipulate their moral compass and try to dissolve their moral compass. That's what she was doing there. All right, let me play another clip here. All right, so let me just play this clip. Let me see what this is here. I forget what the next clip is here. Okay, this is all right. So as all this is going on, as this woman Isabel is taking Greg Riddle, the protagonist, and doing this horrible thing to him, trying to get him recruited into this horrible situation, get him addicted to drugs, put him in this delusional psychotic state. His daughter is trying to find him. She's still loves him and wants to help him, his daughter. And he has a son also. His son is at the point where he has given up, and he says, "Forget it. He's gone." And he says, and this happens in families of people who get addicted. Sometimes they will say, will blame the person who gets addicted and say, "Oh, this is it's horrible. He's doing all these horrible things. We don't want to have anything to do with him anymore." Whereas other people will want to help the person. And that's what we got here. His daughter is trying to help him. And so she's out looking for him. And as she's out there looking for him, asking all various people, have you ever seen this guy, blah, blah, blah. If you do see him, please let me know, blah, blah. So she's trying to track him down. But another plot element that gets brought up here is this idea, and it's very subtle. Probably missed it, and the producer, the money people probably had him, de-emphasize this plot element here. But something that happens here is that the people are getting ready to have a rebellion or revolt or a revolution, or whatever. Who knows where it's going, against the establishment, and they're having this big protest. And here she's this
I don't
woman.
think so.
Well, if you do see him, will you please call me?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We're organizing a march. Situation's gotten out of hand.
See, this is on the screen for less than a second. But it's a protest against inequity, minimum wage, and it's also against police brutality and stuff like that too. So that's what's going on here, and this actually happens later towards the end of the movie. There is a huge protest, not just a protest, but a insurrection where people just start, rioting and burning things, and So that's another part of this whole thing. But I think they really de-emphasized this because you probably didn't even notice this when it's happened. But I think the filmmaker wanted to put this in there, and somebody else probably forced him to de-emphasize it. I'm just guessing, but that's what I think.
Come if you can.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, so here's where we get to meet Isabel's drug supplier, and something I'll get in. When I do these movies here, let me when I do movie reviews, after I give the regular review, then I talk about representation. How people of color and women and people with disabilities and all that are represented in film. And in this one, I'll get to it later on, but one thing that you notice right away is that all of the drug dealers are Asian throughout this whole thing. The guy who makes the drugs and the sellers and even the bartender who's giving people alcohol, the drug alcohol. They're all Asian. So the whole thing in the whole message in this film is that Asian people are drug dealers trying to get Americans addicted to drug, and that kind of fed into this narrative that China is dumping fentanyl on the U.S. I remember that a few years ago. That was kind of the narrative that they wanted to put out there, was that China was trying to dump fentanyl on the U.S. and in this movie they do that. Every single person who is supplying drugs is an Asian person. So that's kind of very bad rep for Asian people, and not good.
Hi, honey.
Who's the new guy?
Don't want to talk about it.
He's cute.
I'm here for some yellows. Fill it up.
You already brought my hat. You know that.
Get to work.
All right, so that's that little conversation right there, there's a lot packed into that. A lot of exposition. Very subtle. So he is her supplier of drugs. And they have kind of they had some sort of romantic relationship, maybe, because he says, "You broke my heart." And she says, "Get to work," but he says it almost in a sarcastic way. So both of these people, this Isabel and this guy, her dealer, her supplier, are both completely gone now. They have no moral compass at all. And he said, "Oh, you broke my heart," and he said it sarcastically, like, "Oh, isn't it fun? You know, ha ha ha." You know, I'm pretending like I have feelings, and she's going along with it. So it's like they're both total sociopaths at this point, right? And they're joking about having feelings, you know.
I'm here for some yellows. Fill it up.
You already broke my heart. You know that.
Get to work.
All right. So while she's in there talking, I don't know if this is happens at the same time, but anyway, while she's away doing business, the protagonist here ends up talking to his daughter, and she is trying to pull him out of this, right, and trying to get him out of this delusion, get him to come home, and all this stuff. And here's part of that conversation.
My God, I did not forget, and I'm definitely going to be there. And I want to take you and Arthur to Cliff's Edge with your mother, if she'll allow it.
You already graduated, Dad. Like 2 weeks ago.
So
Like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So she's talking to him, and he says, "Oh yeah, I'll make it to your graduation." And she says, "No, I graduated 2 weeks ago." So he is so far gone. He has completely lost track of time. Weeks have gone by, and he thinks just a couple of days have gone by. And so that's kind of what's going on there. And, you know, look at that expression on her face, like, God, you know, just that worry. She is so worried about him, and she's trying to get him to come home, and he won't do it. And, you know, it's just very stressful for her. And while that's happening, of course, it's pulling him out of this carefully crafted delusion that this Isabel has got him locked into. So she didn't want this. She's doing everything she can. Whenever she sees that his daughter Emily, I guess her name is Emily, is talking to him, Isabel, the Selma Hayek character, tries to pull them apart. So that's kind of a theme that goes on throughout this whole thing. And also this tends to happen when he is not high, right? They're taking these drugs. The drugs last for some amount of time, and then they wear off, and he starts to see what reality is, you know, again. And very often when that happens, when he is not taking when the drugs have worn off, he'll have a conversation with his daughter, and it will kind of pull him back into reality again, you know.
Is he real?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Now that little conversation there was kind of weird. Because we don't know if her supplier here, this guy, if he is delusional and thinks that there's a real world and a fake world and all this, and that he's trying to play her to believe that there's a real world and a fake world, or if he actually believes it and she has been playing him. We don't know what's going on there. But it's very weird that he used that line, that he put that line out there. You know, it makes you wonder what, you know, are both of these is her supplier and her, are both of them totally wrapped into this delusion also? Or are they both trying to play each other? You know what I'm saying? It's very interesting. Well, I'm gonna check chat here just to make sure. I haven't checked chat in a while. All right, we're good.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, and that's another thing. When there is a delusion like that, they try to get people to not talk about it. When they're trying to craft and cultivate a delusion like that, they try not to get the people to talk about the delusion to people who are not them. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of confusing, but the more that's when somebody is in a delusional state like that, the more they talk to people who are not delusional and able to explain to the person what reality is, the more it weakens their delusional state. You know what I'm saying? So, like Greg, right? If he talks to his daughter will explain to him, no, you're not thinking right, blah blah blah, and that will pull him out of it. And these two were doing the same thing, and we don't know if they're trying to play each other or if they're both delusional. We don't know what's going on there.
Wouldn't you like to know?
How am I supposed to know?
Okay, so here they are. So he's the drugs. Here's some section of the film where the drugs have worn off, and he's questioning everything now, right? He's saying, "Well, you're just messing with me," and he's starting to figure it out that she's messing with him, and he's figuring out the technique she's using and all this kind of stuff, and he tells her that, and then she brings out the big guns when it happens. Here, I'll show you.
You're the one telling me he's real and she's not real, and then I have to take your word for it, right? That's really your trick, is it forces me to depend on you. No. It's very clever. It makes me believe in you. But guess what? I don't believe in you. I've never believed in you. How could someone believe you?
All right. And so he's coming out of it. She's not feeling good about that. She wants to keep him on the hook. She wants to keep him on the chain. And he's starting to pull away. And what she does then at that point is she brings out the big guns. She brings out the blue pills, the blue crystals, and has him snort them. And that just totally whacks his mind and puts him into just completely divorces him from reality entirely. Here, I'll play that. I think I have a clip about that here. All right, so that's what she did. She took. You see what's going on there now? He started to question it and say no. He started figuring out what the deal was, what she was really doing to him, and so she brought out this very, very powerful drug that completely divorces him from reality altogether. We don't even, maybe he went unconscious. We don't know what's going on, but he has a complete break at that point with reality. And she cultivates this situation where she is saying that, oh, we're going into the real world now, which is a completely unreal world. You know what I'm saying? Here, and that's kind of a question at this point. The audience is kind of going along with this and thinking, oh, okay, they thinking that this whole thing where he is at work and at Plato's Dive and the bar and all these things, all these stuff that they went through is the fake world, and now they're going into the real world and in the real world they had this thing called the brain box, which causes people to believe that they're in the fake world. It's kind of confusing, right? But we figure it out at the end of the movie what's going on. So he snorted that very powerful drug, and now this is a delusion that he's having here, which is completely divorced from reality. Right, a brain box, right? That's stupid, right? He's just making that up, right? It's coming. He's just making this up in his brain. This whole situation. And so they go through this whole thing, right? Where they have this idyllic world, you know, where everything's bright and colorful, and you know, it's supposed to be like sometime in the future or whatever, where everybody's happy and taken care of and blah, 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 blah. And she kind of leads him through this whole thing. And he keeps saying, well, how come I can't remember anything before this, you know? And she says, oh, that happens sometimes. You just forgot, you know, or whatever. And she just leads him through this whole thing. Oh, shit. I got to hang on a second here. Let me back up here. All right, so he comes to. Let me back this up. He snorts that drug, and it puts him in a completely psychotic state here, where he's completely divorced from reality, and he thinks he's in this other situation here with the brain box. And it's this idyllic surrounding, right? This is Croatia, actually. This shop, and kind of a thing just on the side here. This place here in Croatia is called Split. that's the name. That's the name of the town in Croatia. It's on the coast of what is it, Adriatic Sea or something. This town is called Split, and I think the filmmakers did that on purpose. They picked this location called Split. You get it, because there are two realities, right? And the two realities, you know, at the next level here as a reflection on society, how society has become divided. So it's pretty cool. But that's where this location is. This is a town called Split in the country of Croatia. It's pretty funny. All right, back to the movie. So she's telling him, right, that they're in the future actually, and the rest of the actual world was the fake world. So she's got him screwed up, thinking that this is the real world, but this is the fake world. This is a fake world that she's just feeding him. And then he kept saying, well, how come I can't remember before this, you know? And then she's saying, oh, well, sometimes that happens. People forget, blah, blah, blah. You know, trying to keep him hooked.
Why am I not remembering any of this?
Don't worry about it. Sometimes it happens to the volunteers, to some of them anyway. It'll wear off.
All right. Here's another one. This pose that she's taking on here. Earlier in the movie, I didn't show it, but earlier in the movie, he draws pictures. He's drawn pictures just out of his imagination of, you know, his idyllic situation where he'd be in a nice house and with a nice wife and all that kind of stuff. And she, of course, has seen those pictures that he has drawn, and now she is taking on that pose intentionally for him to see, so he could think that he was drawing that from his own memory. You know what I'm saying? She's really sadistic. It's just really terrible that she's doing that. Also, they both smoke. This in this section, you know, in the future, you know, utopia, people aren't going to smoke cigarettes. You know, that's, I don't know what, you know, who knows why they did that? Why they're making them smoke?
Your memory's not back.
Oh, now they're smoking pot. I guess they don't know.
Is that bad?
Sit up straight and pay attention, Dr. Whittle.
All right, this is where she tries to. So he says, "How did how did this come to be? How did this idyllic world happen?" And she then explains it. And the way they do this sarcastically here. They have this. They play this little cartoon, which is out of a device they call the brain thought visualizer. There's a little device they call a thought visualizer, and they make it. They basically make it into a cartoon with goofy music, so that it's sarcastic. In other words, we're here. I'll show you.
Science saved the world. Synthetic biology fixed all the environmental problems. And asteroid mining brought mountains of new money. And the guy that had the company for the asteroid mining.
Okay, that's supposed to be Elon Musk. Okay.
That guy.
Yeah, he just started giving all this free money away. I mean,
Right. Really? No, that's not going to happen. That didn't happen. The billionaires are not going to give their money away to people to make people happy, to make a better world. No, they're not going to do that. The way it's going to happen is we're going to have to take the money back from them. That's how it's going to happen. Okay? It's not going to happen this way.
I mean, every single person here gets a base of 500,000K a year. And of course, then the robots, they started doing all the boring and tedious tasks. We got the freedom and the time to explore our passions, science, art, whatever you wanted. We went from a broken world to a beautiful, sustainable, safe, peaceful Earth. You have to admit, this is spectacular.
So, all right. So that's so. So they've put, as part of this whole movie about drugs and all that stuff, he puts in this commentary about possibilities, and it's possible. It's possible. That's what we should be going for. Is that right? Is that situation where the robots do all the work, and we get a universal basic income or universal high income or whatever. But he made it sarcastic, saying, "Oh, the billionaires, gave up their power and their money so that we could have this better world." And that's not going to happen. We're going to have to take that money back from them. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen where, the billionaires or the politicians or anybody else is going to implement that where we could have this world. We're going to have to make it happen. We're going to have to take it. We're going to have to take that money back. We're going to have to basically overthrow the government to do this. That's what we have to do to make that happen. It's not going to happen. And the filmmakers is kind of implying that, right? By telling that story in a sarcastic manner like that, he's saying no, it's not. They're not going to give up their money and power. to make make life better. We're going to have to take it back. That's what he. I don't know if that's what he's saying. That's what I'm saying. We're going to have to take that money back to make that world happen.
This is spectacular.
Another toy.
So this is another section inside, another point inside this world, and it goes on for a long time. Very powerful drug, right? So this thing goes on for a very long time, and the filmmakers put in various little things in here throughout the film. And one of the things they talk about is this turtles all the way down, which I'm sure you've heard of before. And they have one of the characters talking about it. I don't know who that is. Probably somebody famous, and I just don't know who that is. But while it's going on, so Greg is having this complete psychotic episode where he is hallucinating and delusional about that he's in this world, but his daughter is still, and Greg in real life is actually down in this homeless camp with this Isabel, right, sleeping in the, out in the open somewhere, and his daughter knows where he is, and she wants to go help him while he's having this delusion, and this is how they handle it in the movie.
Another tortoise, and that one, another tortoise. It turns out it's turtles all the way down.
I wouldn't go near him, ma'am. He could be unpredictable.
All right, so do you see how they did that? How they showed that? They showed that that Greg is still in this delusional state, in this, imagining this utopian world, when he's actually in, in this homeless camp, and his daughter is watching him, and the cop is warning his daughter, saying he's really fucked up. Don't, it's dangerous to approach him right now because he's so fucked up.
Be unpredictable.
So there it is. There it is. Isn't that beautiful? That's like a beautiful area. That's Croatia. That's Adrian Sea in Croatia. All right. And so they spend quite a bit of time in this delusional world here that they're in, where she's telling them stuff. And
Presenter Dr. Isabel Clemens pioneered brain box simulations. Ugly, simulated worlds that users can jack into in order to generate appreciation for the real world.
So that's her. So in order to make him, to try to convince Greg, why things were so messed up before, she concocts this whole thing where, it's so beautiful in this world that we need to simulate ugly worlds to make us appreciate the real world. It's just, it's crazy. Doesn't make any sense, but So as this is going on, right, his daughter is watching him, and finally his daughter approaches him as he's down in this homeless camp with Isabel, and she approaches him while he's in this delusional state, and he kind of figures it out, that, oh wait, this is not real, or what is this real? He's kind of confused, and she tries to explain it to him, and this is how the filmmakers handle that, which is pretty cool the way they do this. Watch this.
Excuse me. Wait, let me just say hello.
Dr. Clement.
You see? So he's, again, the audience is following his trip, right? The audience is along where he's at. So he sees his daughter as if she is in this fantasy world that he's in, but she's actually in, you know, in the real world, in real life. But he sees.
Hey, where did the initial idea come from? What was the germ?
Yes,
Congratulations, doctor.
Thank you
Lovely
very
work.
much. I gotta go find some.
And she does not want him talking to his daughter. She wants to keep him on the hook, and so she wants to prevent him from talking to his daughter.
Hey, please, just stop. I just want to hear your voice. Are you really here in this place?
Yes.
See how they handle that? She's in the real world with the graffiti and you know, the whole thing. He's in this fantasy world, and so they're kind of showing that difference here, that split. Okay. And the daughter tries to explain to him what's going on, and he's still confused about what's going on.
Yes. I'm here with you.
So you're real.
Yes, I'm real.
You're in Isabel's study. You're in Dr. Clement's study. You're one of the volunteers.
My name is Emily.
No,
I'm Emily.
I know who you are, but how are you out here in the real world?
I'm your daughter.
I know. I don't think I have a real daughter out here in the real world.
Your name is Greg Whittle. You have a son and a daughter, Arthur and Emily. You're not thinking clearly because your head's not on straight.
So there's a very poignant scene there. It goes on and on and on, and he keeps trying to explain to her about his delusion, and she is, you know, trying to explain to him that no, you're it's a delusion, you know, and it's and the effect is it pulls him out of that delusion that this Isabel has carefully crafted for him.
Yeah, it's just hard to figure out what's what. Because it starts to feel like it's almost like a trick being played.
And the way that the filmmakers then show him coming out of that delusional state, that fantasy world, is they kind of show the world collapsing, and then them arriving in the actual world, and what's going on by the time that happens, by the time he comes to and comes out of that delusional state, or partially anyway, then all this writing is going on, that subplot that they didn't really get into too much. The people are writing because there's so much poverty, and so you know, life is so screwed up. Real life. This is kind of weird. They show as he's coming out of it here, they show this scene here. Let me show that, where it's it starts out with a shopping cart. Sorry, that's kind of loud. I don't know. It starts out with a shopping cart, then it turns into a couple chairs, then it turns into a stroller, and then it turns into a wheelchair. And I don't understand the symbolism there, but there's obviously some intention there as far as symbolism. So I guess maybe somebody else can figure that out and let me know what that means. But it's kind of interesting that they throw that in here. And so again, he's back. So he's pretty much completely out of it now. I mean, completely, or approaching sobriety now, where they're not on drugs right now. And he's they're trying to score some more drugs, right? They've come out of this their utopian world. They're not high anymore, but they want to get back to the right. They want the drugs again, and they come into the bar, and Isabel is trying, saying, "Hey, we got to get the drugs," and talking to the Asian people here, trying to find I forget Kendall, which is like the main drug kingpin or whoever, I don't know. But she's trying to get more drugs, and they're getting more and more desperate here, trying to get more drugs. While that's all happening, Greg looks out the window and sees his boss outside, out on the street, walking around. The boss that he thought he killed. And he's saying, wait a second. He says, wait a second, I killed my boss. Why is my boss out there? And here's what happens at that point.
Where is he?
Hey, what are you doing alive? Hey, George!
Someone call security?
Okay, I'm near it. Guys! I saw you fall out the window. He jumped out the window. You saw it too. He fell right over there, right out that window. Should I call? George, look at me.
I'm out of here.
Look at me.
Just
No,
a
I'm
second.
calm.
Do you want me to
you
call
saw
her?
it. Is this a joke?
Okay,
You guys
try
are
to get
playing
some
on me.
food.
Don't do that to me. What are you doing?
Come on, come on.
Just tell me why.
Now, move. Go, come on.
So you see what happened there? He saw his boss. His boss is still alive. And he's like, what's going on? So he went over there and started talking to his boss and his other fellow employees, saying, hey, what's going on? Why is he still alive? Blah, 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 blah. And if he continued to talk to them, they would explain, they would say, hey, no, your boss didn't die. You just, you must have been imagining it or whatever. Right. And it pulls him further and further out of this carefully crafted delusion that she has put him into. So when she sees that he is talking to them, right away she runs out there and pulls him away right away and gets him away from that because she wants to keep him on the chain.
I found Kendall.
Horn's alive. My boss is alive. Did you see that?
God, that's an FGP. They rebooted him. Come on.
So her explanations get more and more bizarre, right? It's just it's a fake, what did she say, fake game player or fake FGP, fake game player, I think is what it was, FGP. And they rebooted him. They rebooted his character. That's why he's back alive again, right? That's what she's telling him. He's not buying it anymore, right? He's, they're not on it. They're getting more and more sober. They don't have the drugs anymore right now. So it's harder for her to feed him all this stuff, these lies.
Rebooted him. Come on. Let me get my lipstick.
Okay, so they're getting more and more desperate. By this point, she has completely warped his moral compass here, and she's a hooker, right? She's a prostitute, but she ends up getting a John, a potential customer for her prostitution, into a car, and she sprays this guy, and they end up carjacking his car and taking his wallet, and they get really desperate here. All right. Let's see what's going on.
No, the wallet.
The wallet. See, there it is again.
The wallet.
The wallet. Remember? That's just throughout the whole thing. It's the wallet. That's the whole point. That's why all these horrible things are happening, is because they're trying to get the wallet. They're trying to get the money, And the interesting, the thing about it is that if we just that utopian world, the reason it's utopia is because everybody got this $500,000 or whatever. Everybody had enough money that nobody had to steal to get what they wanted, and nobody, there was, I think the filmmaker's commentary here is that one of the reasons why we have these problems with drugs and all these other things is because people don't have enough money, and or people are just avarice. Avarice is just out of control, whatever it is. He's saying that it's the money, right? People going for money end up doing all these immoral and horrible things that make society terrible.
Yes, Blues! Here we go! What I found. Kendall,
And it just gets worse and worse and worse. And so she finds this guy, Kendall, who is like the main drug manufacturer. I don't know what it is. But she just gets to him and basically kills him to get the drugs.
Crystals. I don't have time to explain it to you, but shit's falling apart one level up. Give them to me. Go get them!
Okay, sure, you got it.
Go get them! Now!
Hey, I had them on me. Right. Dr. Clemens, what are you doing?
Hey! Hey! I thought he went for a gun, but he actually did have them. Sorry, Kendall.
Sorry? It starts to feel like you're making this up as you go along. That
He's fine. Maybe just a mild stomachache, but he's fine.
All right, so and so Greg at this point is completely out of it, right? I mean, completely sober now. He knows what's real and what isn't. And what he does at this point, now I don't know. I'll play this and there's a couple different takes on this.
just crush my skull, and I meet you back there.
They're in this situation here where they got these blue pills, these blue crystal pills, the super powerful drugs, and they want to take them and get what she has been saying is the real world. She knows it's not the real world. He thought it was the real world, and that this world that they're in right here at this moment is the fake world. And so what he thinks is, if she kills him in this world, he'll wake up in the real world, which is actually the fake world. It's kind of confusing, but anyway, when he does that, when he says, "Here, crush my skull, and it'll kill me, and I'll wake up in the real world," she knows that, whoa, he's something screwy here, Let me play this again here. It's there's a lot going on here. Let me just play it.
It's fine.
Take this. Just crush my skull, and I meet you back there. I'm not
That's bullshit. I'm not gonna do that. What if it doesn't work?
What about Kendo?
Maybe I killed. I don't know. I don't know what to believe. Oh shit. Fuck.
Fucking surrounded?
Down there! There's a trash down there! Let's go!
So, I don't know if at that point, if he was actually believing that, if he actually believed that if she killed him, he would wake up in either place, or if he was testing her. He may have been testing her there, telling her, "Oh, crush my head and I'll wake up in this other world," just to see how she would react, to try to give him confirmation one way or the other. I'm not sure what was going on there. A lot of different ways to interpret that. But in any case, what they decide to do is they only had enough. They only had one dose, right? They only had enough for this drug for one of them to get high and get back into this fake utopia. And they decide that she's going to be the one to take the drug, and he just hightails it out of there. He escapes.
That's bullshit. I'm not gonna do that. What if it doesn't work?
What about Kendo?
Maybe I killed. I don't know. I don't know what to believe. Oh shit. Fuck.
Fucking surrounded?
Down there! Get your guys down there! Let's go!
So, okay, so he takes off and she takes the drug. It looks, and the way they play it here, it looks like they're almost like she's killing herself here. But that, I think she's just taking this drug and just going off into La La Land, and then of course the cops arrest her and put her in prison, right, for killing a guy. So he escapes. So he and that's it. So right, that's when they are separated. Then at that I mean that's right, by necessity, right? She gets arrested. She goes to prison, and he's out on his own. She's no longer feeding his delusion and feeding him drugs and all that stuff. And he's homeless and out of, no money, no family, blah, 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 blah. And so he ends up going into this this place they call Safe Harbor rehab clinic, right? And that's where he goes. And I think the rehab clinics are part of the whole system. I think they're because they get money too, right? So I think it's all part of the same system, From the drug dealers and the drug manufacturers all the way through the whole thing. I think they're all in on it.
This is Greg's first time. Welcome, Greg. In this house, there's no stigma for what you're going through. Every person on this planet can relate to wanting to chase bliss.
So there's the titular concept there. Everybody wants to be happy and chase bliss, because the world's so screwed up. Reality is so screwed up that people want to escape it. That's the whole thing. So then in this rehab thing, they kind of leave it. The filmmakers leave it kind of weird, but basically this is how he starts his recovery right here.
This woman says she's my daughter. And I believe her.
So, and then later on they could have left it there, but that would have been too, they could have left it there, but that would have been even more confusing for the audience. So they wrap it up. They finally show them later on getting together, and he's back with his daughter, and everybody's happy.
You're not late, Dad. You're here.
So presumably he recovers. I don't know. So that's the movie. I hope that explains everything, or explains more of it about what's going on. And they're the players, right? Owen Wilson, Selma Hayek, the two protagonists. Just incredible. Just the acting, just world-class acting there, off the charts. And Nesta Cooper, the daughter. And Jorge, I didn't show him in any of the clips here, I don't think, or other than just a brief picture of him. But he is Greg's son. So there's the daughter and the son. The son pretty much gave up on him. The daughter didn't give up on him and helped him out, and he helped him finally get in with his recovery and everything. And then some of these other actors, they are all really good actors, you know, in the thing. Really pretty good. So yeah, that's the narrative. In terms of the way that you know, representation, all that. I already mentioned about the Asian people. Asian people were not treated too well here. I know Cahill on some of his previous projects have been racially biased. He had a movie called Another Earth, which had a lot of racial bias in it. It was almost all white, the whole film. This one had a little more representation and better representation. Greg Whittle, of course, or Owen Wilson is white. Isabel is Spanish. Spanish. She's actually from Spanish and Lebanese descent, but she presents as Latina. You know. But she's really from Spain. She was born in Mexico, but her parents are from Spain and Lebanon. So, and she's from a wealthy family. So, and Emily is black. Author Whittle is black. And they got pretty good representation. There was one scene in here which was not good at all. Let me show this. Let's see here. Yeah, there's one scene in here that was not good at all. Fairly early on. Well, at the very beginning, they kind of de-emphasized. This is the introduction of his daughter. Was introduced just as a picture, and they didn't actually show her, so it was kind of weird, you know. They didn't really, she wasn't really didn't show up that much until later on in the film. But there is a point here where it's pretty much about the first black person who actually has a line in the film. See here.
Well, it's all you.
Right here. I think this is the first black guy who has a line on camera. His daughter had lines, but she wasn't shown on camera. But listen to what he says here.
Yeah.
Well, it's all you.
They flush a toilet, and they have this guy come out and say, "Toilet's all yours." And the way he says it is like the toilet's all you. In fact, when you turn on the closed caption here, the line that comes up when he says that line says, "The toilet is all you." That's what the closed captioning says. So this is bad. This is really, really bad here.
Well, it's all you.
That's, for those of you who don't know, that's kind of like a running thing in film. They try to associate black people with toilets and you know, that kind of stuff. And that's really bad. And so that, I don't know who's responsible for this. I don't know if Cahill, you know, was aware of what was going on here. I mean, ultimately, he's responsible for what's in his film, you know. So, but that's really bad. this could have been something that somebody else snuck in there, and he's just not aware of it, you know, of that, of the association there. I don't know, but that's bad. So he, you know, Cahill, if you're listening, you know, pay attention next time. Don't put that stuff in your movie. You know, that's bad. But otherwise, you know, the main black supporting actress here in the film is his daughter, who's played by Nesta Cooper. Emily Whittle is the character, and so and she's gives, you know, is good rep, right? because she's tries to help him out, and she's very, you know, she's just, you know, a good person. So that's good rep on that. But so overall, the movie's not too bad. Just that the way it treats Asians is not very good, and this one scene here with the guy coming out of the bathroom, that was not good at all. Otherwise, it was good. So, all right. So that's the film. I hope that clears up a lot more. I don't know anybody else who has explained it in this much depth. This is probably, once I get this up on YouTube, this is going to be the most extensive explanation of this film and what is really going on in the film and all that kind of stuff, and it makes more sense, and it you know, some people didn't get any more out of it than thinking that it was like a Matrix movie, right? And that there really was, two different, really were two different worlds and all that kind of stuff. But the way I explained it, I think, is the most accurate, and you know what was actually going on there, what the story, the narrative really was of the whole thing. And then, next level up beyond the narrative and the movie itself is the commentary or the concept of people having different views of reality. You know, that's kind of like an overarching thing there, and I think was the motivation of the filmmaker, or one of the motivating factors that had him do this film, is that we, in our world today, that's what we have. We have people have become so divided. Let me fix my camera here. Sorry about that. People have become so divided and so segregated that they're consuming different media. They're everything is they have different ideas of what reality are. And they got this orange guy who's occupying the Oval Office right now, who's feeding people, is basically Isabel feeding these people a bunch of BS, and people are buying it, I don't know if people are actually, I wonder sometimes if people are actually taking drugs, but there are a lot of people who I don't think are taking drugs who are still delusional about what's going on, So I don't understand how that happens, and the filmmaker was kind of like saying, it's these people. It's like saying there are two different worlds, and saying that both of them are equally, valid or whatever. And that's no. One of them is real. One of them are actual facts. One set of the population is actually going by what the actual facts are, and what what reality is, and another one is being fed a bunch of bullshit, and don't even know what the facts are, and so it's kind of sad that it's that way, but and I don't know how to reach people who are who are delusional, in reality, who do have these ideas. I mean, they're the people who think, they think things like, you know, uh, all the different weird things that people believe, that vaccines are trying to harm people, and that, you know, uh, they think that, they think that the pandemic is over. The pandemic isn't over. There are hundreds of people die every week from COVID-19. You have to wear your mask. If you don't wear your mask, you're going to get, you're taking a risk. People think vaccines cause autism. They think, there are people out there who think that we didn't land on the moon. There are people who believe in UFOs, or, it's like, when the pandemic started, that orange guy in the Oval Office, he told everybody to take their masks off and deluded them into literally killing themselves. I mean, that's like, that Jamestown stuff, man. That's what level that is. That's what happened in the pandemic. You had the president of the United States at the beginning of the pandemic told people to take their masks off. By the way, you got to wear. You need to wear these masks. He told people at the beginning of the pandemic to take their masks off. Don't not wear their masks. And over a million Americans died from the pandemic. More than any other country in the whole world died in the United States. And there are people out there right now who are so delusional they think we did too much in the pandemic. They think we did too much to try to prevent people from dying in a pandemic. They think we, making people wear masks. They think that was the wrong thing to do. That's the science is this is the most effective way to prevent people from getting infected and spreading COVID-19 is this N95 mask. It's even more effective than the vaccine, which you should take, by the way. You should take the vaccine and wear the mask. If half, all the people who were wearing cloth masks at the beginning of the pandemic, if they would have wore these N95 masks, the epidemic would not have taken hold in the United States. That's what the facts say. That's what, papers, scientists who study the thing. That's what the reality is. But, a lot of people don't know that. They're being fed some weird reality that they shouldn't be wearing their masks, that they shouldn't take the vaccine, So it's really sad. I don't know what to do about it other than to tell people, what the real deal is, Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, wear your mask whenever you. By the way, it's got to be an N95 mask. It's got to say N95 on it, right? It has to say NIOSH. It's got to be an N95 mask, and you need to wear it right now. Right now, we're still in the pandemic today. Hundreds of people die every day from COVID-19. You're more likely to die from not wearing an N95 mask than you are to die from not wearing a seatbelt in a car. That's the facts. That's the numbers. That's the actual real statistics. That's reality. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. And even like little simple facts like Iran, the Iran thing, right? That guy started a war with Iran and killed thousands of people. He dropped intentionally dropped a bomb on a school and killed more than 100 school children. And the reason he gave for that was that he said that Iran was trying to develop a nuclear bomb. That's not true. No. The official finding of the United States, the official position of the United States is that Iran has not pursued a nuclear weapon for about a quarter century. But if you listen to the news, I mean, or if you listen to the wrong news, or you're not getting the right information, you might think that Iran was trying to develop a nuclear weapon, and so we went to war with them to stop them from getting a bomb. That's not what happened. You know, Iran was not trying to get a nuclear bomb. They're not trying to build a nuclear weapon. They don't have a nuclear weapons program at all. But a bunch of people believe that, you know, because they're being fed bullshit, you know. So it goes on and on and on. There are just so many things like that. And I don't know how to fix it. You know, I don't know how to get, you know, other than you know, when, you know, if somebody tells you something that doesn't sound like it's true, listen to them. Listen to them. Be open to changing your mind. If somebody says something that's different and it doesn't sound like what you believe is true, then listen to them. Ask them, where are your facts? What's the source of your information? You know, why do you believe that? What, you know? Try to figure out what the real facts are, you know? You know, if somebody tells me, you know, that we didn't land on the moon, okay? I think, okay, why do you believe that, you know? Tell me about it a little bit. What are your facts, you know? And, you know, you find out, when you do that, you find out that they're being fed a bunch of shit, you know? They're being fed a bunch of bullshit that's not true. And they're believing it. And, you know, any of these things, UFOs, all of it. And the problem is that there are a whole bunch of Isabels out there, a whole bunch of Isabels that are trying to feed people this BS and trying to keep them, you know, a delusion going for money. You know, they're doing it for money and control. So we got to, you know, try to recognize when there's an Isabel trying to string you along, you know. If there's an Isabel out there, but we're metaphors now, right? And we're not talking about actual drugs and actually, you know, drug dealers and stuff like that. These are people who are dealing fantasy to try to get your money, right? Or to try to, you know, get your vote or control you some way or whatever. So when somebody tells you something that you may disagree with, that you know, that doesn't sound right to you, then ask them, say, why, you know, why are you saying that? Why do you believe that way? And, you know, always be open to change your mind, you know, if there's something that doesn't seem right to you. And I'm always open. If there's like in this stream, in this video, or any other video I've ever done, if I say something that doesn't sound like it's right to you, tell me. You know, write in the comments, whatever. There's lots of different ways to contact me. Tell me. Say, I don't think you're right about this, and this is why I think you're not right, because and here's the information, here's my source of the information. And we'll discuss it, and we'll try to figure out what the facts are, what the true thing is, you know. We'll talk to each other like Greg Whittle and his daughter, right? Try to figure out what the real thing is, you know. And when Isabel tries to interfere with that and keep us from doing that, then fuck Isabel, you know. Whoever's trying to feed us the bullshit, right? So that's the only way I can think of is how we can get out of this situation. All right. So there's my commentary. There's my explanation for the movie, and my commentary about what about the social situation that I think was motivating the filmmakers to put that movie out. So yeah, if you go back and watch the movie again, you'll get a lot more out of it with that explanation, I think. Oh, let me I can shut off my spoiler light now. Let me shut that off. All right, I spoiled it pretty good. I spoiled a lot of different things there, didn't I? All right, I guess we're all done. Let's see, I got to... Let me, before I wrap it up here, I always got to do my my credit scroll here. All right, so what's today here? Today is June 26th, actually 27th now, I think. We passed midnight. Long stream. All right, let me see if I can find my, there we go, okay. All right, so this is my little document here that has all my credits on it, so I'll update that. This is actually the 26th, and this is a review of the movie Bliss. All right, that's what we did. So I'll update that. Oh shit, this didn't work, did it? No, that didn't work either. Damn. Hang on, we'll get this figured out. This is the last thing I do here in the stream to try to put my credits up. There we go. See that? AI, tech, science, that's all kind of the same thing. I should put film in here too, right? Film. And this isn't what we actually did. So here are my social doohickeys here. I got a couple websites and Twitch and YouTube and all that. And a Mastodon account I never use. We didn't do anything from NASA. But we did have copyright material. Let's see, let me put that in here. Used clips from Bliss 2021. Under fair use. So we did that. So I release my all of my videos under Creative Commons 4.0, so you can reproduce them any way you want. Just do what you want. Just give credit, you know. And whatever you release it in also has to be released. It's share alike. So if you put it into something else, then that's released too. You know what I'm saying? It's you know how that works. Maybe, hopefully. Let's see what else. I had some music in here. There was music from the movie, of course. That's part of the movie. It's part of the fair use of the movie. I had my own music that I use at the very beginning, called All Along, and there's the credit for that, and that's under a Creative Commons license. And I guess that's it. Wikipedia. I think did I show some? I may have showed some Wikipedia pages. I don't remember, but I probably did. And there we go. So let me save that. All right. I guess that's it. All right, I appreciate everybody stopping in and listening to my explanation about that movie. Hopefully it's helpful to people, because that's a really confusing movie and a lot of people had trouble with it. So hopefully that's a little bit helps you a little bit, and then you can go back and watch it again like Orange Juice was going to do. Once you watched it, and said they were going to try to go back and watch it again. So hopefully that explains a lot of stuff. All right, I guess that's it. Thank you everybody for stopping by. I appreciate you coming by. And again, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Yeah, make sure. Oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to tell you to follow and follow. What are you supposed to do? Subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. I don't know. Leave comments. All that kind of stuff. So it's supposed to help with the algorithm, but I don't think it does. I don't think it does any help. It helps with anything. I think I'm on their blacklist, pretty firmly on their blacklist. They don't recommend my videos to anybody anymore because I don't say nice things about billionaires anymore. So they don't like me. All right, everybody, take care. Thank you for stopping in. Bye bye. Now you can watch some squirrels run in circles or something here.